Welcome back, brother. We are here. I am super excited to start getting into some sales trainings and teaching you guys what I've learned, just a little bit of what I've learned over the past couple years in sales, and start getting you guys to increase your closing percentage, start selling more deals, and making yourself some more money. So let's get right into it. My first year in sales. You can see here, Rob Ciardini. That was my first ever customer, and I was super hyped when he sent this message to one of the office ladies, and they sent it back to me because it was my first customer, and he said that I was a great salesman. I can remember the exact specific scenario. It was my third day in April of 2021. Third day selling. I had not sold an account yet. I was feeling pretty discouraged, and I'm like, oh shit, like am I gonna be good at sales? Like, am I gonna have to quit this job? Like, I wasn't sure. And this guy was just the easiest sale of my life. Super kind. Him and his wife were both very kind. I went up to him and he was talking to me about how he had his carpenter ants inside and he was taking care of it with himself. Took me into the garage and showed me this product that he had. He's like, "Oh, I got this from the States. It's super good." And I overcame the concern, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I mean those products are great, but what we use is actually micro encapsulated and time released and super effective to get rid of the source." And he was super interested and intrigued, and I was like, "No way, is this guy like actually gonna buy from me?" And sure enough, he did. We got the sale. I was super excited, and that was the start of the journey. That was the start of my sales journey. So in my first year, I had about a 6% closing ratio. So what that means is I had about 60 to 100 talks per day. So I'd be knocking on doors and I'd knock and talk to about 60 to 100 people roughly. And like I was burning through conversations. Like if they said no, I was very quick to be like, okay, yeah, no worries, like all good. I'll just move on to the next person. So I had so many conversations. I could have had tons more deals to be made if I just pushed through a little bit more of those objections, those like random excuses where they don't actually know even what you're selling at this point, but they're just trying to push you away from the doorstep. That's super common for them to just not actually want to hear you out in the first place. But the summer ended up being very successful for me, or what I consider to be very successful for a rookie sales rep. I serviced 206 accounts, but going into this, I had absolutely zero sales experience. I was a server, so I had customer service experience, which I thought would, go hand in hand pretty well, and it did. But I was still relatively shy and timid. I wasn't super confident in myself, in my abilities to sell. And over time, I was able to build that up and become, the sales rep that I am today. Fast forward 3 years later, here we are. I just finished up the summer with the group of guys that I brought out. I brought out 15 guys to Ontario, and we generated $725,000 together as a team in sales, and I couldn't believe it. I was super excited with the results that we brought in. And personally, my sales, I went from a first-year sales rep closing 6% of my deals, talking to sometimes over 100 people a day, to now talking to roughly 30 to 50 people and closing 15% of those deals. I've had summers where I've serviced 300 plus accounts, which has generated me $100,000 plus in income. And now I get to travel the world for 8 months out of the year and only work for 4 months. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how I mastered the basics of sales, how I was able to increase my closing percentage drastically to bring up my income and double my income actually from the first to the second year. That way you can apply those skills and become the top producer in your sales field. Before we get into it, hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button right now if you want to see some more content, as I'm rolling out at least 3 videos a week going forward from now on. The first thing to master in sales is the first 3 seconds of an interaction. The reason for that is because most people in our human nature, we observe somebody and in 3 seconds we've made a decision on if we actually like the person or not. So with knowing that, we can think there's a couple things that we can instantly change to make sure that we are perceived the best way possible. The first thing is the body language. Now, your body language, if you're doing an in-person sales role, you want to come across very relaxed. So I like to treat the doorstep as my office, right? So I'm super comfortable in my office. I'm going to make sure that I'm leaning on my back foot, so I'll have one foot in front of the other, leaning on my back foot. In sales, we always use an iPad. Some people use binders and door-to-door, whichever you use, it works. I always look down at my iPad and I look busy before the customer opens the door and says hello to me. This way it looks like they're almost stepping into my office, and I'm super comfortable. I'm totally fine in this role. I'm going to greet them with a smile, maintain strong eye contact when I greet them in those first 3 seconds to make the best first impression possible. Now, a common mistake that I see a lot of beginner reps make is their volume comes out way too high at the beginning of the conversation. So if I'm making a YouTube video, of course I'm going to be a lot more expressive, but if I'm coming at the doors, I'm going to be a lot more relaxed. So the first 3 seconds kind of looks like this. The customer says hello. Hey, how's it going? I'm not coming on too strong. I'm not going, hey, how's it going? And I'm also not going in too weak, like, hey, how's it going? It's important to have that happy medium. So I typically like to say, go at about a 7 of a volume. 7 out of 10, that's a good volume to be at. And you want to maintain this volume almost throughout the entire pitch, essentially. Now, your intro is where you get the hook for the entire sales pitch. You need to be super clear on who you are, why you're there, and what you're offering to them as fast as possible so that you can qualify the prospect to see if they're even somebody that you can help in the first place. Icebreakers are also really good ways to relieve the tension, especially at the beginning of the conversation. If you've just approached them or you've just called them, they're a little bit on edge. They don't really know who you are. They don't know why you're talking to them in the first place. So a common thing that I like to do when I'm trying to relieve some of that tension there is after I've asked how they're doing, if they say good, I'll essentially just say, oh, I'm guessing you're the boss around here, with a big smile on my face. And this just kind of gets them to smile, it gets them to laugh, and hopefully relieves a little bit of the tension so they're not like on edge and wondering like what I want. So here's an example intro of me in my pest control pitch and how I go about the intro. Hey, how are ya? I'll be real quick. I'm the neighborhood bug guy. You've probably seen our trucks out here the last couple days. I'm just stopping by because I'm going to be helping out John just right next door, as well as Mary just right across the street there. Nothing crazy going on here, obviously. Just trying to get a jump on the normal stuff. It's mainly just some of those little ants that are starting to pop up just in and around the interlock out here. We do get the occasional calls about the spiders and the wasps up and around the eaves, and just a few of the rodents later on in the winter. And so long story short, since I do have my guys just next door with John on Friday, anyone else I'd like to get it done while we're already around, we're just able to do it super cheap. So in the intro, I've greeted them politely. I got to the point really, really fast. I'm here for the bugs. That's what I'm here to take care of. I'm here to take care of the ants, the spiders, the wasps. And I also included some third party in there as well. So I included the names of their neighbors. So that way that might resonate with them. If I'm helping out John next door, they might get a little bit of FOMO there. Like, oh, John's doing it. I should probably do this too. And so third party is also super effective. And then I finished off with a price bait. So I mentioned at the end, hey, since I'm here on Friday, if we can get you done at the same time, we're able to do it super cheap. And this is just a way for me to get them to ask the price. That's the whole goal of the intro. If they ask the price right off the intro, perfect. We're off to the races. I can get the price out of the way, tell them what the price is, and start talking about the service a little bit more so that they are informed on what we're doing and they can make an informed decision from there. So one of the biggest differences from year 1 to year 3 is I spend way less time with the people that aren't going to buy. It's super important to understand, is this customer actually worth my time? Is this someone that even can buy? Do they need my service in any way? If not, you need to move on as fast as possible. So here's some indicators that they're actually worth your time. First of all, their tonality and their body language are very relaxed. They're coming out, maybe they'll even step out of the door and come to you on the doorstep and close the door behind them. This just tells you that they're totally comfortable chatting with you. They're not uncomfortable with you being there talking to them, and they're totally fine with hearing out your pitch and being okay with listening to what you have going on. Number 2 is they're actually asking questions about your service. So in my specific field, again, that can be questions like, is this safe? Does it take care of the ants? Anything like that. Any type of question that they're asking, they're obviously telling you that they're interested a little bit in what you're offering. If they weren't, they would have zero interest and they would just push you away from the door or hang up the phone. So if they're admitting to issues and they're admitting to needs within the product or service that you're selling to them, stick around with the customer. Realize that customers are going to give you objections throughout the pitch, whether it's, I need to talk to my wife, I need to think about it, any type of question like this. Push through those concerns and stay with the customer there and you will find a lot more deals are starting to come your way because you don't just walk away from those deals. Now, some people just aren't going to buy. So no matter what you do, you can stay with them for as long as you want, but they're just not going to buy. And there's a couple little indicators that you can look for to figure out who is actually disqualified as a buyer. And the first one is they're just not paying attention. So they'll just simply be sitting there, whether it's on the phone or in person, and they'll just be like, yeah, and just agreeing but super dully to all of your interactions that you're saying, all the questions that you're asking. They don't have any response to them. They don't have any need in regards to your product or service, and they just give you multiple different objections. They're just throwing objections like, when you think about it, I got to talk to my wife, this is too much, and they just give you all the objections in the book, but nothing positive, no questions about your service. If it's all negative and no positive, there's a good chance that customer is disqualified, and you should move on to the next customer or call the next customer as fast as possible. Now, lastly, and this goes without saying, you need to master your sales script. When I'm talking to a customer, I am completely prepared for every single interaction in my field. I have memorized every single objection and every response to that objection for pest control, and I've said this pitch like 1,000 times. Repetition is key. If you're selling consistently every single day, you're knocking doors or you're calling leads all day for 8 hours a day, your pitch is obviously going to improve, but you can't expect all of this growth to happen during the actual work day. There's a lot of work that needs to happen behind the scenes. You need to be putting in hours reading sales books, communication books, and I recommend Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. He is the best salesman of our generation. And How to Win Friends and Influence People, just for general communication skills. Dale Carnegie has a fantastic book. Definitely recommend reading that one as well. But outside of work, study your script. Make sure you know the ins and outs. Every single objection that they can throw at you, you are prepared for it. If you're not prepared for that objection and they throw it at you and you cave, and you've already lost right there. As soon as you cave to one objection, you can't really come back from it because it's super difficult to be like, and then continue to go through the pitch, because they now take control of the conversation and they guide it towards a no, and you can't guide the conversation to where you want it to go. That's the whole point of sales, is you are guiding them through a sales cycle to get them to the close where they are now comfortable buying the service that you've offered to them, and they are totally 100% in because they have the need and you have sold them on the product. Mentors, mentors, mentors. You need to learn from the best in your field. The people that are selling the most accounts in your field are clearly doing something that you're not doing. So you need to record your pitches and make sure you are analyzing those pitches in the off time of your workday and listen to what you could have fixed. Bring that to the people that are selling the best and take their criticism. Learn from what they are doing and try to tailor your pitch accordingly. It's okay to copy. It's 100% fine to copy other lines or use their lines. Just make sure that it comes out natural. Make sure that you're not sounding robotic. You're not sounding like, hey, how's it going? So this is my product. I work for ABC Company. It just doesn't sound natural at all. Make sure that it comes across as you. Bring those lines into your pitch and you will see drastic differences because the top reps know what they're doing. Make sure to listen to them and take their advice, and they will help you increase your sales drastically. All right, that's it for this one, bro. Subscribe for more sales content. I'm rolling out content 3 days a week out here on YouTube. Sales, vlogs, fitness content all coming out soon. Super excited to be making all these YouTube videos for everybody, and I hope you're enjoying it. If you do, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell so that you know when I've uploaded. And until next time, Alpha Wolf out.